Welcome, and thank you for taking the time to be here. This series is about something deceptively simple but profoundly powerful: the quality of our thinking. Every decision we make, every action we take, is only as good as the thinking that precedes it. Yet most of us rarely experience the kind of environment where we can think clearly, deeply, and without interruption. We live in a world of noise, constant meetings, notifications, deadlines, and distractions. In that noise, we often confuse reacting fast with thinking well. The result? Rushed decisions, shallow conversations, and missed insight. Time to Think, developed by Nancy Kline, is a framework designed to reverse that trend. It teaches us how to create the conditions, psychological, emotional, and even energetic, that allow people to think for themselves with clarity and courage. Over the course of this series, we'll explore the 10 components that make a true thinking environment, learn how to build those conditions in teams and organizations, and see how attention, the simple act of truly listening, can transform the quality of leadership, culture, and innovation. So why should you invest your time in this? Because when the quality of thinking rises, everything else, communication, trust, collaboration, and results, rises with it. This isn't just about improving conversations. It's about upgrading consciousness in ourselves, our teams, and our organizations. Everything we do starts with our thinking. Let's begin. Nancy Kline, in her books Time to Think and More Time to Think, describes the thinking environment as both a philosophy and a practical framework. It is about creating spaces where people can think at their best. The core principle is simple but powerful. If you want people to think well, treat them well. This means giving attention, listening without interruption, respecting equality, appreciating contributions, and providing truth and encouragement. A thinking environment is not just a method, it is a set of conditions that consistently generate independent, high-quality thinking. Kline identifies 10 key components that together form the thinking environment: attention, equality, ease, appreciation, encouragement, feelings, information, diversity, incisive questions, and place. Quality of action. Nancy Kline reminds us that everything we do depends for its quality on the thinking we do first. Before any choice, action, or decision, there is always a moment of thought. If that thinking is rushed, unclear, or clouded by fear and distraction, the results will inevitably reflect those qualities. We see this in organizations where hurried decisions lead to rework, conflict, and missed opportunities. By contrast, when our thinking is clear, deliberate, and imaginative, the actions that follow create entirely different outcomes: stronger solutions, healthier relationships, and more meaningful progress. In essence, our results are never better than the thinking that created them. Ripple effect. The second key principle is that our thinking affects everything in the world around us. Thought is never static. It becomes speech, it becomes action, and eventually it becomes the culture we live in. A limiting assumption can quietly shape how a team approaches a challenge, restricting creativity and narrowing possibility. At the same time, a single incisive question, asked with real attention, can change the direction of a conversation or even transform an entire organization. This ripple effect shows us that what begins in thought does not stay hidden. It influences the very fabric of our shared reality. Responsibility and opportunity. Together, these two ideas highlight both a responsibility and an opportunity. If our actions and environments are shaped by our thinking, then the most powerful change we can make is to improve the quality of thought itself. That requires creating the right conditions, slowing down, listening with genuine attention, and questioning the assumptions that keep us stuck. When we do this for ourselves and for others, we unleash thinking of the highest quality. The result is not just better decisions, but also a better world. The thinking partnership is the most intimate and focused form of the thinking environment. It's a one-to-one session designed purely to help one person think for themselves, without interruption, advice, or judgment. In a world where almost every conversation involves reaction or direction, the simplicity of this structure feels radical. There are only two roles, the thinker and the thinking partner. The thinker chooses what they want to think about. The thinking partner's role is to hold attention, quietly, respectfully, and to offer questions only when they might deepen or liberate the thinking. At the start, the partner offers what Nancy Kline calls the promise, a clear commitment that creates psychological safety. It sounds like this: I will not interrupt you. I will not judge or advise you. I will offer questions only to help your thinking. Everything you say will remain confidential. That promise changes everything. It gives the thinker explicit permission to explore their mind without fear of being interrupted or evaluated. The session begins with a simple question. What would you like to think about, and what are your thoughts? The thinker begins to speak, and the partner listens fully, silently. If the thinker pauses, the partner gently asks, "What more do you think, or feel, or want to say?" This question reopens the flow of thought. As the conversation unfolds, limiting assumptions often surface. The partner listens for them, then offers an incisive question to help release them. For example, what are you assuming that is stopping you from moving forward? Or, if you knew that your judgment is respected, what would you do next? Throughout, the partner never gives advice or adds interpretation. Their attention acts as a mirror in which the thinker can see their own mind clearly. The session ends when the thinker feels complete. The partner may ask, "What are you taking away from this thinking?" Or, "What do you know now that you didn't know before?" In every thinking partnership, the transformation happens not through guidance, but through presence. When a person experiences that level of undivided attention, their mind starts to work at a higher level, connecting ideas, resolving dilemmas, finding courage. The impact is often profound. The thinker leaves with clarity and confidence that came from within. The partner leaves reminded that true leadership is not about directing thought, but about creating the space where thought can unfold. The thinking partnership creates a type of transformation that's both personal and cultural. The first benefit is deep clarity and focus. Because the thinker is given uninterrupted time and full attention, their mind relaxes. And when the mind relaxes, it becomes capable of original thought. Ideas that were tangled begin to unravel. What once felt complicated becomes clear. The second benefit is increased self-trust. In a thinking partnership, no one tells the thinker what to do. Instead, they experience their own ability to think powerfully for themselves. Over time, that self-reliance grows into confidence, a quiet certainty that I can work things out. The third benefit is emotional balance. When people can speak without interruption, their thoughts and feelings find natural resolution. The pressure to defend or justify disappears. They leave calmer, lighter, and more centered. The fourth benefit is enhanced leadership presence. Thinking partners learn to hold silence, to wait, and to listen without agenda. This skill translates directly into leadership, the ability to create safety and clarity in every conversation. And finally, the thinking partnership becomes a model for culture. When individuals experience the power of attention, they start bringing that same quality into their teams and meetings. Over time, the organization begins to change, not through rules or slogans, but through behavior. The thinking partnership is where a thinking environment begins, one person at a time. Let's now look at the thinking partnership in practical terms, how to conduct a session step by step. Step 1. Set the frame. Begin by agreeing the purpose, confidentiality, and time boundary. For example, 45 minutes or an hour. Clarify the two roles. One will be the thinker, the other the thinking partner. Decide who begins and ensure you'll switch roles in future sessions. Step 2. Offer the promise. The promise is what makes this space safe and sacred. The thinking partner says, "I will not interrupt you. I will not judge or advise you. I will offer questions only to help your thinking. Everything you say will remain confidential." This explicit statement sets the tone of respect and trust. Step 3. Open the session. Ask the thinker, "What would you like to think about, and what are your thoughts?" It's a deceptively simple opening. It immediately hands ownership of the topic and the thinking to the thinker. Step 4. Hold attention. As they begin, give full, uninterrupted attention. No nodding, no interjections, no reassurance. Your quiet presence is the catalyst for their clarity. Step 5. Keep thinking moving. When the thinker pauses, instead of stepping in, gently ask, "What more do you think, or feel, or want to say?" This question reopens the flow of thought, often leading to deeper insights. Step 6. Surface and replace limiting assumptions. When you hear an assumption that constrains their thinking, such as, "I can't do this until I'm more experienced," ask, "What are you assuming that is stopping you from moving forward?" Work with them to identify a liberating alternative, then craft an incisive question. For example, "If you knew your experience is exactly what's needed, what would you do?" That question frees the mind. Step 7. Close with reflection. When the thinker seems complete, invite them to summarize. What are you taking away from this thinking? Or what do you know now that you didn't know before? This helps consolidate learning. Step 8. Appreciate and end with ease. Thank them for their courage and clarity. Don't comment, analyze, or summarize for them. Simply appreciate the quality of their thinking. Remember, your job as the thinking partner is not to fix or direct. It's to provide a space of profound attention where the thinker can hear their own wisdom. That's the moment where transformation happens. Well, that brings us to the end of this introduction on time to think. We hope to see you in part 2.